it started raining. No wipers, but I guess we're testing out the old shark hide finally. I got the old DOT slicks on the back too, so I heard they're treacherous in the rain, so I'm just trying to limp it on home. Dang it, I was going into Bozeman. There's supposed to be a little cruise going on tonight. Hey, welcome back to the Montana Garage. 75 days and counting till Rocky Mountain Race Week. It is, I don't even know, April 7th? Just a guess. Somewhere in that area. And look, I don't even know if you can see out there. It looks like a giant ball of sun because there is actually a giant ball of sun out there. Spring has finally arrived at the Montana Garage. Now, we still have snow on the ground. And luckily, it's been melting slow, so I haven't had a lot of water issues. I do have a little bit of water coming in over on that side, so I need to walk out there and see if there's something I can pump out of the way. But right now, I just got to get some work done. I have this afternoon to do something, and then I'm actually leaving to Phoenix for a week, or for 5 days. So I will not be in the Montana Garage. It's going to be 99 degrees. So I went from basically being in the 40s to 99 degrees. So I am going to be suffering, but I will survive, I'm sure. So have a day today to get something done. The problem is I don't really know what I'm doing. I have this wiring harness from American Autowire, so I was thinking about kind of getting started on that. Then I got to thinking, well, maybe I should put the front sheet metal on, because surely there's going to be, you know, you're going to want to run the wires maybe under the fenders, and you're going to have wires that go up to the headlights, and so maybe I should do that first. And then I was like, well, it's definitely easier to run some wires without the fenders in the way. So, I mean, I don't know, which way does everybody else do it? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do both. I'm going to dig the wiring harness out. I've opened that up, but that's about all I've done. I haven't like really opened any of the pouches and looked at any of the instructions. So I'm certain once I get started on that, I'm going to wish I had other things, probably like some wire loom, and you know, I'm sure there's gonna be things I wish I had, and I'm gonna have to order and be waiting. So I think I'm gonna pull that out, open it, and kind of get an idea of what I got myself into and what I'm gonna need. Maybe get started. I've watched a couple of videos, so I know like putting the fuse box in is the first thing. So maybe I'll kind of get started with that, just kind of have an idea for what I'm doing. I also think I'm gonna dig my fenders and inner fenders out of the disaster in the corner here. Somewhere. This is a 57 head for the delivery parts for Trey's square body. There's a 55 fender, 58 Chevy fender. If anybody needs one of those, hit me up because I don't need it. I got 2 of them. Anyways, there's another 55 fender, and the inner fender wells are shoved down there somewhere too. They've been in this corner for 10 years at least, maybe. I don't know. They've been there for a long time. So I'm going to start on the wiring. I'm also going to dig those out because another reason I don't want to just put the front sheet metal on is, well, the fenders are just going to be in lacquer primer, so they all need sanded off. That's no big deal. But the inner fenders, before I install them, they're probably going to need painted. But I'm not even sure if they're going to work because of my roll bar crap. So I kind of want to get them out and just kind of, you know, mock them up and see if I think they're going to work and get a feel for that, and then I can start sanding them if they are going to work. And anyways, it's all got to be done, right? So let's, I don't know, let's do something. Oh, I got this out here because my buddy Mike reached out and said he needed a gas door. And I don't know, some of you guys that are new maybe never watched the video where this came from, but this used to be right here. So we're going with no gas door. This was just hanging on a shelf collecting dust. So I'm going to send it to Mike, and hopefully he can put it to good use. So how do I put the gas in now? Glad you asked, even though you didn't. In the trunk, baby. This is the American Autowire kit that I got. I got it from Summit. I've had it for a while, so I don't remember. Somewhere just over, just under 600 bucks-ish. I don't know. Google it, you'll see how much it costs. I wish I had a big table to do this on, but I don't, so we're gonna make do with a little table and a couple chairs. But like I said, I've opened this before. But this is basically how you're going to get it. So this sheet here just gives you a list of the components inside, and then it just gives you a couple of quick warnings. It says it's for a modified car. It's not made for the generator. It's made for a high output alternator. It doesn't work with an ammeter, and it's not designed to work with points type distributor. So you can make all that stuff work, I'm sure, but the way it's designed. And this page has been intentionally left blank, just kind of like my brain. Just kidding. Anyways, some sort of big instructions. So this sheet, like I said, it tells you all the parts you're supposed to have. So the first thing you're supposed to do is go through and make sure you have everything. Bag G is a dash harness. Well, I'm not going to go through all that, but anyways, you got some little terminal ends. You got a big bag. This is, I'm guessing, the under dash because it's got the fuse block. Bag H, dash cluster wiring. Bag, I don't know, 500 416. Park headlamp kit and courtesy light. So you can see everything's split up and divided into neat little sections and kits for what you need. Front light wiring kit. M is rear body. J, engine wiring kit. Doesn't have a number 862 headlight switch. Yeah, they even give you a new headlight switch. I didn't realize that. A new ignition switch, it looks like. Flashers and fuses. Headlight dimmer switch. And a big old heavy duty battery cable type wire. This is Z alternator and mega fuse kit. So that's what you get. So it looks like each bag has its individual instructions, and maybe this one has some sort of overall instructions. I'm not sure yet. Yeah. Start here. So I'm gonna read this so I know where to start, and then we'll be back. All right, I did a little reading. I'm pretty good at that. I, used my eyeballs and my brain, and I thought about it, and I sounded out the words, and I did all the stuff they taught me back in grade school, and I think I figured it out. My neighbors over here, they got a shop back there. I don't know what they're working on, but they are jamming out to some sort of hip-hop beats, and I can hear them. I hope you guys can't, because then YouTube's not going to like that. Anyways, after my reading, I discovered that, yeah, I was kind of right. Each bag is broken down into its own little thing, and you're going to start in alphabetical order with G. I'm not sure why you start with G, and there's a lot of alphabetical letters missing, but anyways, that's the theory. You start with G, go out alphabetical order till Z, even though there's only a few letters. I'm sure they have a reason for that. And then the beginning of this tells you need a proper crimping tool. So they tell you the proper crimping tool are these, of course, American Autowire tools. You need 2 of them. For singles and doubles or something. They have a video listed here on YouTube. I went and watched that video, and it does look like the way these terminals crimp, you kind of need a specialty tool. So I ordered these from Summit. They were stupid expensive. I think it was almost 200 bucks for the 2 of them. So I haven't taken them out of the plastic bag yet because I have another crimping tool and I thought it was decent. So I'm gonna see if when I get to whatever point that I need to crimp, if that'll work, and if I can find it, which I thought it was in this box here. Yeah. So I don't know, I think this is a little different than maybe this is what I usually use for non-insulated crimps. But anyways, I'll probably end up using the thing they want me to use, but yeah, it's expensive. But you don't want to spend 600 bucks on a wiring harness and then have it all fall apart because you're too cheap to get the right crimping tool. So we'll figure that out when we get to that point. But basically, we are starting with G, which is a dash harness kit, which I suspected. That's the big fuse block and everything. So I'm going to kind of organize this stuff back into the box. We'll open this one up and then see what all we need to do to get started on that. All right, here we go with step number 1, or as is commonly known, step G. Step 1 and step G, I don't think they're commonly together anywhere, but they are here. So that is how we're gonna do it. All right, and we have a big old bunch of wire here. Obviously the fuse box, and then this looks like fuse box mounted. Lots of little nuts and bolts and a bracket. And the instructions. I know everybody usually just throws the instructions away first thing, but I think I am going to read the instructions on a job like this. Can you guys even see me? Man, I need my director of photography or videography. Get his act together. Well, it looks like we got some more reading to do. Front and back even. Anyways, it looks like I said, I just now opened these. I haven't looked at them. Looks like we have some pretty detailed instructions. So, I mean, if a guy can read and follow instructions, you should be able to do this, I think. So, more reading. Oh, and of course, if I forgot to say this earlier, I've wired a grand total of 0 cars before. So, this is how I'm doing it. This is maybe not the right way to do it. But like I said, I'm just going to follow instructions. I've, of course, added wires and spliced wires. And, I have a little bit of knowledge about what I'm doing, but I've never done a whole kit. So, I think this is made for the do-it-yourselfer, so that's me, that's probably you, so we'll figure it out together. After a bit more reading, I've pretty much discovered that you're going to use this plate to mount the fuse box, and it bolts up using your hood hinge bolt. This is the lower hood hinge bolt, and then another hole that's already in the firewall. So they give you new nuts and bolts and a few washers and a series of stuff that you need to do that. So it's going to start right here. So I'm going to start by, I have some stuff to prepare in here. I got to get my seat out of the way. I got this door bar out of the way. I probably pull the steering wheel back off. I got to get this bezel out of there. There's no wires going to it, but it's just in there from when I was putting the steering wheel together. So let me do a little more preparing. I'm not prepared yet. I got to do a little more preparing, and then we will actually start some installing. The steering column down a little bit to get the bezel out of there. Never used to have to do that, not that I remember, but I guess with the shape of this new steering column, of course I managed to scratch it a little bit too. Should have been a little more patient, got some tape out, but hey, it's just an old race car. So now I guess we got to go grab that fuse box and the nuts and bolts and whatnot and see if we can get it up in there. I keep getting distracted. Like I said, it's like the nicest, first nice day we've had. And like 2 people just drove by with their hot rods, revving their engines. And I had the door down. And by the time I got over there and got the door up, they were just going. I could just barely see the tail end. One looked like a pretty nice Monte Carlo. Don't know who it was. A couple of people, I mean, people know where I live. So they gave a couple revs when they went by. So I assume that wasn't coinkadink. They were trying to see if I was around probably, but anywho, I wish I was out driving something. So back to the instructions. We're going to use the existing lower hood hinge bolt location. Well, bam. Now, in a perfect world, you probably have your hood hinges on first. I don't have my hood hinges on, and I don't even know where they're at. They're in here somewhere. And if I do find them, I'm sure they need painted. So I'm going to go ahead and install this without the hood hinge. I'm eventually just going to have to take this little mess of nuts and bolts apart. But I think everything else can be in there, and I'll just have to back that back out and put it back in. We like to do everything at least twice around here, so that's just normal. The other bolt hole, you use an existing small hole in the firewall, which looks to be, somewhere directly below the hood hinge. But unfortunately, in my wisdom, I filled in all those holes. This was supposed to be originally for a dash pad retainer clip. So there was 10 or 12 or 15 holes for the dash pad retainer clip. I welded them all in, so I'm not putting it back in there. So I will have to get the first bolt in there and the little bracket, and then see how it lines up and figure out where I gotta drill a hole where there used to already be a hole. Yeah. Again, we like to do things the hard way, so we'll figure that out. So back to the instructions. They give you a picture of what this looks like from looking from inside the car. The single outline here is this bracket. So looking from inside the car, that's how it would be. This long leg going down on the outside. So now this, I have it in the top mounting hole. This will swing back and forth, a little bit, but I'm gonna just assume, never assume, right? But I'm gonna assume that they would have had this level at the top. So I've leveled that off, and this is the other mounting hole. So I'm just gonna drill it right from here, from the outside, and then we'll go to the inside and be able to put it all together. Hopefully, I don't know that it would really matter if it's not exactly in the right spot, if it's tilted a little left or right, but it might cause some sort of interference. But we're gonna go with this. Getting ready to drill a hole, and I was just curious, am I the only one on the planet that just now figured out what these are? I always just use grab the old center punch and hit it with a hammer, but then actually, I'm sure they've been around forever. Everybody probably uses them, but somehow I never even knew about them. I saw Finnegan using one on his YouTube channel. I don't even know what it's called. Is it an automatic center punch or something like so? Anyway, this is just a cheap $3 Harbor Freight one. Seems to put a little punch mark there. Put it where you want her and push. Then drill. Guess I can sell my hammers now. Now, there's always use for a hammer. All right, back with one quick tip on installing the bracket for the fuse panel. I already had it up there, installed in place. And if you're like me, you just kind of look at this picture and you're like, oh yeah, a couple nuts, blah, 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 put it together. Well, you really should read the instructions a little bit too. There's a bunch of fine print instructions over here. And of course I didn't read those. I got that bolted on there, and then I realized you got to put these longer bolts in from the backside before you put it up there, because otherwise they won't fit between the firewall and the bracket. So don't forget to throw those in there. I am a little curious or wondering how this is going to work. Like I said, I got to take this back out of here, at least the top mounting bolt, to put my hood hinge on it. And with all these double nuts and whatnot, you can't just run the bolt out of there. So I'm going to have to get in here and pretty much take it apart. And to get access to it, I'm probably going to have to take these loose and then take the fuse panel off and kind of start over. I'm hoping that there's going to be enough slack in the wire that a guy can do that and kind of have it hanging down and get in here to do what you got to do. Time will tell. I will keep going and put this actually on there how it's supposed to be, then actually get the fuse panel put in there. And then if it looks like I'm going to be hosed and I can't continue without the hood hinge, then I'll have to, I guess, find my hood hinges and get them painted before I can proceed with this. So we'll see. Here's the view of the fuse panel mounting plate, almost properly installed. Gotta make sure you put these in here before you bolt that up there. And it says to make sure you have no threads sticking out of these two mounting bolts because they could damage wire. Well, I got a ton of threads on this one, but that one needs to come back out and be redone. I'm not sure if you're supposed to cut it or if they gave me too long of a bolt or if I screwed something up, but I did it just like the diagram. So be aware of that. I'm just not going to worry about it right now until I see how the whole fuse panel mounts on here. All right, let's go get the actual fuse panel and see how that goes on there. All right, I got the whole main under dash, I guess, harness, maybe it's called. I don't know. Here, and like I said, I've watched a couple of videos to kind of get an idea what I was getting myself into with this wiring harness deal. And I watched one last night, and I don't remember what it was called, what the channel was. I'd never seen it before. It was a few years old. But they were trying to teach a guy how to do this. Sound like they'd done quite a few. And when they did this, they shoved everything in from up here. It seems a lot easier just to put it in from down here, but I'm guessing they know what they're doing, and it's just easier to have all these wires up over the column already, I guess. So I'm going to follow their lead and jam this all in through the instrument cluster. They probably know more than me. I would assume. Maybe I'm going to. Which way should I go here? I might actually have to get light so I can see which way I can go. It's got a couple brackets and braces in the steering column. I'm gonna guess can't go that way once I can see. It's gotta dive through here. That's a little dicey, I guess. They probably didn't have the headlight switch in already. Well, I guess I might have to go back to my version of just doing it the other way. I don't even know how they got it through there. I guess they didn't have the headlight switch in. This comes with the new headlight switch. If I remember right, I could never get this headlight switch out of here, so let me do some research into that, I guess. All right, I just contacted my good friend Google. He was home and he told me there's a little button you push on here. I think I actually knew that, but I also think that, see, this is just loose in here. I think I remember messing with it back in the day and I could never get it out. So anyways, there's supposed to be some sort of button you push. You guys are all out there telling me, know exactly what button it is and wondering why I don't know where it is, but we're gonna figure it out, hopefully. I assume it's up here. Is it on the back? Where's it at? I don't see a button. Google wouldn't have lied to me. Sure wish I could find my little magnetic light. That would make my life a little easier right now. All right, mister, there's a button. Oh, there's a button right there. Oh, look at there. Okay, now maybe I could do that, but this part wouldn't come out. There was some reason I couldn't get this out of here. Perhaps it was because back in 1990 when I was trying to do this, I didn't know Google. Now that I know Google, it comes right out. If you're wondering, there's the button right there on top, opposite of the plugins. Well, bam, headlights out, just like headlight switch is out just like that. Now, obviously I'm going to hang on to this, but I'm pretty sure, I think I saw a new one in the kit. All right, back to trying to jam the fuse panel in there. Okay, now with the headlight switch out of the way, that actually fits in there, at least past that. And of course we got something else in the way. Can I get past this? Is the vent cable. All right, we got past that without too much trouble. All right, you guys tell me, leave me a comment. Is this the way you did it? I know some of you guys have done this before. And like I said, I'm just following that other channel's lead. Figured there's a reason it's probably better to have these up here or something than down there and then have to fish them all up individually. I don't know. But anyways, we're close, so I'm gonna crawl underneath there and then see if I can figure out how she actually mounts to that plate. So let's see if we can make it go to its home. So much wires in my face, it's hard to see anything. I think I got enough slack to get her there now. Where's my holes at? There's one. Bam. And bam. It's pretty fancy having all these fuses. I think I had like 3 fuses in here before, and most of those were inline fuses that I just added. All right, so I can... I lost that one. It's gone forever, or until I look for it. Need really good finger dexterity to get this nut started, and apparently I don't have that. Barely any room for it. All right, let's try holding that still and turning the back one maybe. Can't really do that either. All right, so the last step is tightening these nuts, and hopefully it won't take you 3 days like it's gonna take me, but I'll come back when I get it figured out. Fuse panel is installed. One more quick tip for you guys that are gonna try and do this. It says specifically in the instructions, when you're tightening these lock nuts, it recommends using a quarter-inch drive, 12-point socket. I didn't have one. I got a deep 3/8" drive, 12-point. The 6 points won't fit in there at all. They're a little, the 12-point ends up being a little narrower or thinner, I guess. And then I'm guessing the quarter-inch drive one is even a little thinner because it just barely, I mean, you can barely get a hold of it. It's like one grab an edge of it at a time kind of thing. So it was a pain in the butt trying to get them tight with this. So I would recommend you have one of those handy. I either don't have one or can't find one if I do have one. So I struggled for an extra quite a bit of time. So anyways, just a little bit of tidbits of information to help you guys out. I don't know what's next. Let's figure it out. All right, so back to reading. Make sure you guys read this stuff because I'm better at looking at pictures. But when I come back, it says to attach the fuse panel and then route. Actually, it says before you attach the fuse panel, route fuse panel harness and dash area using original harness clips located at the top of the firewall. So then if you look at the picture, it kind of shows you that the main harness goes up, across underneath the dash. All right, so we'll go do that, and then it says, starting with bag A, to install other wiring bags. Let's go see if we can figure out how that jams up in there, and then we'll look for bag H. And then this, I think, is just general instructions that kind of tells you, sheet 3 says, all right, now we're kind of working on this part right here, and it says, what these wires are right here, what these wires are right here, and so forth, and then what the end wires are. So easy peasy, maybe. Good thing I covered up my seat. Mr. Moose's new favorite spot in the shop. So nothing super organized, but I did come back over and kind of look at the diagram and just kind of tried to sort it. These ones go down here, these ones come up for the dash bezel, heater, these ones go way across, that sort of thing. So nothing super organized, like I said, but I think this is kind of where I need to be to continue on to the next step. Well, hello there, we're back. It's been, I don't know, a week, 8, 10 days, something like that. I say we because I got my little helper back there. He is being extra needy right now, and wherever I go, he goes. Huh, Moose? I did put a cover on my seat because he still likes that as his favorite spot. Anyways, I digress. So I've been gone for about a week, or I was gone for 5 days or something. I had to have a little medical procedure. I had to get a heart ablation. I've talked a little bit about I have some heart rhythm problems and a defibrillator in my chest. So that was cool. It wasn't that big of a deal. It took a few days to get it done because I had to travel, and then I had to take it easy for like a week. So I'm kind of on the end of that. I'm still supposed to be taking it easy. I think today's kind of the last day and then I can get back to normal. So I've been out here doing a little bit of stuff just because it's been driving me crazy, but I haven't been able to lift anything or lay on my back, so I had to do pretty easy stuff. But I just kind of put a little bit of the engine stuff together, found my carburetor, mounted the MSD box. I don't know. I figured that's as good a spot as any. I'm not going to be super fancy and try to hide my wires. It's like a race car, so I want to be able to work on it. And I don't know. I just have the wires dangling now because once I figure out how the rest of the wires go, we'll figure that out. Mounted my little alternator bracket. Tried to buy an alternator, nobody had one. Painted my seat brackets. Painted my heater box because I had to figure out the heater box right on the other side of this. I had to figure out how that was going to go to make sure these screws weren't going to go into the heater core. Heater core already leaked, so I took that to a radiator shop to see if they could fix it or if I got to buy a new one. Yeah, that's about it. Just a little bit of small stuff like that. So now we're back to messing with the wiring. So where I left off like a week or whatever ago, I just have the initial kind of under dash harness kind of spread out in here. And I'm starting to figure out the next thing you do is wire up the gauge assembly, all the lights and whatnot. I guess I did. I took this all apart. Whoops. And cleaned it up. Tried to kind of polish the chrome a little bit. It's all old and pitted, but it looks pretty good. Clean the glass, all that good stuff. So now we're getting ready to try to wire this up. So again, pretty good instructions. This is the pigtail or whatnot that goes to, half of this, and then see this one's the other half. I'm not really sure what that one is all about yet, but the thing I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm not going to say I'm confused about it, but they give you like 6 foot of wire here. The connector for this guy ends up like, it's just right behind the steering column there in the dash. So I don't know why you need 6 foot of wire. I guess everybody does it different, but maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I'm going to cut the wire about right here, you know, 1.5 feet or so, which still I think is way more than the guy needs. All you need to be able to do is get this gauge cluster out a little bit where you can reach your hand in there and unplug this plug, and then the whole gauge cluster will come out. So anyways, that's where I'm at. Getting ready to cut these. I've been trying to decide how long to cut them, but it really, I'm just gonna cut them yay long and then get rid of all this extra wire, and we'll start splicing on some ends, I guess. Moose, you're making it really hard. That's right where I'm working. This is the workbench. How come you've been sitting over here all week, and now today you're sitting right here? It's because you're needy today, huh? You need to be close. That's okay. I like you close too. Let's get back on your I brought a little chair over for you. Let's get back on your chair. There you go. See? You're there. I'm here. We're still close. And I can work. No, just stay there. Stay there. Good job. Once again, Moose cannot be happy with his assigned seating. How we doing, Moose? Is the pink wire in the right spot? Hope so. Wiring update from a non-expert. This is what I came up with for the wiring for the gauge cluster. So they give you new little sockets for the lights. The old ones were metal, and then I guess they give you pieces I could have used these two. Then they give you some connectors. I guess these would have gone onto here like so. But the instructions, they just talked about this, so I just went with this way the lights each individual light doesn't plug in, it's just pushed in. So yours might be different, or some are different. Like I have a mechanical gauge that doesn't work, but there's some wires for an electric heat gauge there. Let's see, this one's the oil sender. This one I might use, this like the alternator light, so hopefully I can make that work. I'll probably have a mechanical oil pressure gauge, but I went ahead and wired it up just in case. And then tried to kind of tidy it up with a little bit of zip ties. Anyways, that's what I got for now. I don't know what Moose thinks. He was over napping. He found a new spot over by the wall. I definitely need some more, not zip ties. I got zip ties, more shrink wrap. The shrink wrap I have is kind of crap, and I don't really have the right sizes. But anyways, that's the beginning of the wiring. They do give you some extra connections and instructions for like wiring up aftermarket gauges too. So I'll look through that because I will definitely have some of their gauges to wire in. But that's a start. Going in to watch hockey now. Lame, I know. But it's the playoffs, baby. Go Avs, go!